The oldest living thing on Earth is the bristlecone pine. There are living trees right now that are almost 5,000 years old. You find them up in Inyo County, California, in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's just beautiful country. I mean, they shot a lot of westerns up there. Now, the forestry department will not say which of the bristlecones is the oldest because they don't want some douche canoe going up there and digging it up to sell on eBay. Now, I used to spend a lot of time in those mountains as a kid, and when I was 14, I remember I had a surplus of that angry energy a lot of teenage boys have. My family had been fighting, so I decided to go work some of that energy up by going on a very long hike into the mountains and launching up the side of this very steep rock face. And it was pretty treacherous, but you know, when you're 14, you're sort of like a monkey, so you don't have an appropriate sense of caution. And as I started to get close to the top of this, I found myself in a kind of a tricky spot. I'd overestimated my reach, and I'd got wrapped around this rock with my arms fully extended and my legs and feet where I couldn't see them. And as I was reaching around, the soil up there is volcanic. It's pumice. It's just worthless for grabbing hold of. And it started to dawn on me that I really couldn't go up and I couldn't go down. And I was feeling around with my feet, and there was just nothing else to stand on. So I turned around to assess my situation, and I was hanging about 6 or 7 stories up. I mean, if I fell, it was minimum a broken back, but much more likely that fall would kill me. And I suddenly started to realize that I was losing my strength. The longer I waited to make a decision about what I was going to do, the worse my situation was getting. And half of my brain was telling me not to do anything rash, and the other half was saying, you better do something right now. And while my brain was arguing and going back and forth, my legs just said, F this, and they fired like pistons, and I reached up as far as I could, and I got hold of a tree root that was shaped like a handle. And I pulled myself up, sort of peeked over the edge to get a nice good look at what almost happened, and oh man. Whew. And I rolled onto my back next to this old bristlecone pine. That was the root that I'd grabbed hold of. And I just lay there literally petting that root that had saved me and marveling at the beauty of everything. And for as far as the eye could see, in every direction, there was no sign of humanity. There was no roads, no buildings, no power lines, no airplanes, just a hawk circling in the clear blue sky and the smell of the sagebrush and the pines and the sound of wind. And I was thinking, oh, this is what it must have been like back when people were still like they felt like they were part of the world and not separate from it. And I pulled myself into a seating position. I was sitting with my back against this old tree when I started to feel a very deep sense of understanding of everything. Like I understood everything, how everything was all connected in one infinite, interdependent web, and that all of our human concerns and cares and rivalries were just so sad and silly. And yet, I felt nothing but empathy and grace. And then all of a sudden that the window of awareness and understanding started to close. And I was like, no, wait. And then it was gone. And years went by, and I was at a party where I met a professor of neuroscience, and I described the story that I just told you. And he said, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but you were just stoned out of your mind. Your body had anticipated that you were going to fall to your death, so it had flooded your bloodstream with opioid neuropeptides as painkillers, like the body's version of heroin. And when you didn't actually need it, you were just tripping balls. And I thought, oh, what a drag. But then years after that, I had a brilliant colleague from Mumbai, and we had some drinks, and I told him the same story, and I also told him what the neuroscientist had told me. And he shook his head very sadly, and he said, the causes of your insight do not make the observations less valid. Did you have the experience or not? I'm certain when we fall in love, there are surges of hormones and chemicals and processes that produce the euphoria. So should we just shrug it off and say, no, love is not worthy of poetry because it's all just biochemistry? Or should we embrace the joy and marvel at the experience? And I feel badly for your doctor friend. For all his intelligence, he belittles the profound. That tree that saved you, it was here before the pyramids.